Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Reddit Aliens. I am John, and as always, thank you so much for being here. A good topic. Let's do it. What's the most disturbing thing you've ever seen on the internet? Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Seeing two teen boys in the woods beating some poor man's head in with a hammer and smiling about it, and a fake one, when I was like 8 to 11, my mom's friend showed me pictures on her computer of these kittens stuck in jars. It was fake, but very convincing, and they never told me it was fake, and it horrified me. That's probably a video of two kids in a bathroom playing with a gun, and one of them shoots the other by mistake, then shoots themselves. After the shots, you see the family peeking through the door that is blocked by their bodies, and the realization of what happened in the family's faces is insane. That, or this dashcam video where a brick coming from a truck on the opposite lane crashed through the windshield and into the passenger's face. I think she dies on the spot, and then you hear the screams of the husband in the driver's seat and the kids in the rear seats. Both videos, you don't really see much gore per se, but the absolute horror of the situation gives me chills just thinking about it. Lots of shit, but the one that unfortunately pops into my head, a few people sitting in a sort of plaza, then a rocket hits, going from enjoying their day to falling parts and blood in seconds. Don't remember the website, but was early 2000s with a lot of gore. A python ate a human, or maybe it was an anaconda, and they were cutting it open to get the body. Funky Town, Ghost Rider, cartel feeding a child predator to their dog, the Junko Furuta story and everything associated with it. I think those are legitimately the most effed up and gruesome things I've seen in many places. The story of Junko Furuta is a very distressing series of events that took place. I'd rather watch the other videos, to be completely honest. Top 3 for me are as follows. The absolute worst being last. Demogorgon diving incident. Dude jumps from a bridge and hits a concrete fishing platform below, splitting open his entire face. When they retrieved him, his head was opened up to look like the Demogorgon from Stranger Things. They had to hold his face together while recovering him. He was still alive and conscious, too. Rotating machinery, 2 videos. One was very fast moving and one was much slower. The fast one pulled the worker into it. Within seconds, blood and gore was spraying from the machine, covering the entire warehouse. Guy probably died within 10 to 15 seconds. Second one, the guy got pulled in and slowly rotated, like once every 3 seconds. He was stuck in the machine for a long time before it was stopped. When it was stopped, his legs looked like jello. He likely died slowly and agonizingly. The worst was a video my wife saw on Facebook. The traumatizing part was that my wife thought it was a cute video, a kitten in a bucket getting a bath. She watched it with a smile, thought it was adorable until it was revealed that it wasn't water in the bucket, it was gasoline. When the sick effers set the bucket on fire, my wife went straight into a panic attack. She was hysterical. It still makes me tear up just knowing that she witnessed that, because she's never seen any type of shock content up to that point, and she wholly believed it was a simple, cute cat video. F. There was a plane crash in my hometown. Someone recorded the man lying outside of the plane dying and did a Facebook Live. You could see him kind of moving, and the person recording was just yelling about how messed up it was, but wasn't trying to comfort the person at all. Just posted it for everyone to see his final moments. It was disturbing, and I can only think about this. What if his family members scrolled and saw it? Disgusting behavior, honestly. Last year, my Facebook business profile was hacked. Then immediately afterwards, my personal profile was hacked by the same people, and both my Facebook and Instagram were permanent banned for violating the TOS. I appealed and was denied. I was also denied a copy of my data. I mostly just cared about the lost photos. I ended up having to write my state rep to be allowed back into my account. I got an email from Facebook saying I could log in to review the post that had violated the terms of service and reinstate my account. The hackers had posted 10 CSAM photos in order to get my account shut down by the algorithm, and Facebook made me look at them to get back in. Once they had full control of my business account, they used it to run $4,000 worth of phishing ads on my credit card over the course of a month. It was a mess, and now those 10 images are seared into my brain. I can't unsee them. Absolutely traumatic. I've had to go to therapy to deal with it. F you, Facebook, and F you, guy in Southeast Asia. I hate you. Watched some guy blow his face off with a shotgun. Had no idea what he was rambling on about and no idea what was going on to happen, but he says, "Well, I guess that's it then," before blowing his face off. I think he was on the phone to an ex-partner that wouldn't get back with him or something. Also, I watched an ISIS video. They tied some guy's arms and legs up and chased him with a tank. He was hopping to get away, but obviously couldn't, and they ran him over. The body was turned to mush underneath the tank whilst the terrorists stood there laughing. I am from the internet, has no filter time. Porn on YouTube, beheadings, a guy jumping from a shipping container trying to hit the water but split his skull open on the edge of the dock, things like that. One man, one jar as well. I'm assuming it's just some type of morbid curiosity that made so many people at that time seek out these videos of gore and death. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of self-inflicted wounds that you're putting on yourselves. I just wouldn't watch it. If you've seen gore in real life, you don't need to seek it out. So, hope you guys are doing all right, and maybe you can teach the next generation to let those private moments stay where they are. A guy killing his sister using a firearm, multiple shots, because she had been AR'd by a soldier and her pictures were all over the internet. To him, she'd lost her honor. Location, somewhere in the Middle East. When I grew up, we had Rotten.com. I've seen a lot. People hanging from the ceiling on their genitals, people shot but shotguns from very close. Also bestiality and terror TV, including executions. Later, 3 guys, 1 hammer, and everything else in the naming pattern. Nothing as gory as the rest on here. Disturbing nonetheless. A couple of CCTV footages that expose human depravity. A footage where a nanny beats the crap out of a 1.5 to 2-year-old kid because it was constantly crying. The footage starts with her wildly rocking the child in her arms while it's wailing its lungs out. Upon seeing the child not subsiding, she flings the baby to the cot, probably 2 to 3 feet away. It had a good soft mattress, and the child was unhurt, but it bounced a couple of times and continued to cry. She then picked the child, slapped it right across the cheek once, and then held it by both legs and trounced it on the bed like 5 times. There was death silence and a few seconds of still. The footage cut just when the child moved its hand a bit. Upon reading up, turns out the child survived unharmed and the nanny was arrested. The family had installed the CCTV after suspecting some lapse of the nanny's part, as the child had some minor bruises every day. They were shocked by what they saw. The second, a case of elder abuse. A man, his wife, and juvenile son were being suspected by the man's sister of abusing their mother. She installed the CCTV in the mother's room. The footage begins with 3 of them in the mother's room picking her bedsheet from the bed, sniffs it, and starts gesturing around wildly. The elderly mother comes into the room. She's very frail and her hands are trembling. The son roughs her up and pushes her onto the bed, holds her against the board and slaps her across the cheeks, yelling at her. His wife and their son looking on. They were arrested too. These 2 footages shook me up so bad. A person whose only job is to be patient with an infant losing her cool in what appears to be routine misbehavior, and a son who cannot understand an elderly mother who's probably not in control of her bladder. What a world. Saw a Mexican cartel video that has stuck with me. Worse than your usual run-of-the-mill execution. Police chief and his son, who were 7 to 10 years old, beheaded the father in front of the son, and then continued to fillet the kid's chest and open his rib cage, taking out his heart. It took way too long for the kid to finally pass out or die. He screamed almost through the whole thing, up until opening up the rib cage. Hardest video I've ever watched. Turn it off. Clearly not the worst seeing all these comments, but the suicide scene from 13 Reasons Why really effed me up. They actually showed her cutting her wrists, nearly made me throw up. If there's one thing that is advised from suicide prevention groups all over the world is, do not show it. It leads to ideation and glamorization and copycat behavior. They effing showed it in great detail, and 6 years later, that scene still haunts me sometimes. Cartel members slitting a father's throat and then filleting the chest of his son. The son's lung proceeded to balloon out of his chest with each breath he took. I think I saw it called Guerrero murder video once. That or cartel members hacking off a man's feet while he said, oh no, in a resigned tone. I recently saw a video on r/NotSafeForLife about a person who was skiing and he or she landed on the net or a pole or something and his leg got caught and ripped it open, leaving a trail of blood and him seemingly lifeless sliding down the piste. I've seen other crazy shit in Reddit, but that made my stomach turn. When the Parkland school shooting happened, all those kids had their phones and were essentially broadcasting it live on Snapchat. I saw everything happen from the active fire to people who were shot crying for their mom and all the other victims. Really changed my brain at the age of 14. I was thinking about this today actually, as some were talking about the ice hockey incident that happened today where the guy's throat got sliced by the skate and he bled out and died. Many have found that video very comforting, but after a couple of decades, I'm desensitized to that kind of thing. As sad as it sounds, the video was nothing really as far as impact of watching it. Can't decide between that one YouTube video where some guy commits suicide on live TV back in the day by shooting point blank in his own mouth with the barrel facing his head and then instantly dropping to the floor in a rapidly increasing pool of blood, or Facebook video of a mass execution of about 10 or so hostages on their knees, blindfolded and repeatedly shot in their limp dead bodies one after the other by what I imagine was ISIS or something of that kind. The latter particularly disturbed me as a kid. I was around 12 to 15 when I saw it because I didn't understand what they were gaining from shooting an already limp and completely dead body, and it frustrated me a lot. Obviously I was upset about the original shot as well, but something about continuously shooting an already dead individual really disturbed me. I didn't feel bad when the pedo got his arm amputated and then killed by a huge rock on his face. I spread it amongst several chat to stranger chats with P's so that it isn't really what was effed up. It was just brutal. The most brutal I'd ever seen in terms of blood and violence, but it felt good knowing why it happened. But lately, I'd seen a girl from Mexico being shot because she lost €50 worth of coke. She got shot just like that. It wasn't massive gore, nor was she completely innocent, but she looked my age, and she was begging with tears and such. I felt really bad and disturbed. The mentality is what is scary to me, not the act at hand. I don't mind gore, I mind injustice. I had to rewatch the video to get over it. I had to rewatch it 3 times. I had to find some way to say she went out quick. She didn't panic that much, just to rationalize my own feeling on the matter. I would rather have 20 more beheadings of terrorists than having to see stuff like that. I don't like the story of the 2 kids killed by an intruder either. Hearing just the audio already got me angry and sad at once. I knew the actual video was out there, but I never looked for it because I don't want to. Like, only send me gore if I will not care about the people in the video.